And in uncertainty, and now I got to take a much wider view because I'm Eastern, and we do see things more ecologically or synthesis, right? So if the West is yang in terms of structure, the other side is yin. If you talk about risk, the other side is uncertainty. Actuaries are good in analysis, but not necessarily in synthesis. Science is very elemental rather than holistic, yeah. And we often go to tasks instead of talking about context, yeah. So these are pairs of words, pairs of words. But it was also interesting that the way you did things, the way you did it, Neil, to deal with a systems problem, a holistic problem, is still very analytical. And the way Nick Spencer asked the question, where are the notes? Yeah, a Chinese thinker will not ask with those questions. I'm not saying they're right. They won't ask the question. And it's interesting that Sam Accord says that I like to deal with these kind of issues in a structured way. You see what I mean? So we bring our own subjectivity into it, and no one has done. So therefore, it becomes so the problem is not a first order problem. We've got to go to the second order. How are we going to harmonize our interpretation of it, right? So we come into economics. So I was very taken by not narrative economics. That is an investment. There's a pathway into it. But I think complexity economics. I was very taken by Eric Boenhecker's book because I thought I've always felt that the problem was not about economics or economic models. It's about human society, about how we organize our mindsets, how we organize our philosophy. And if you're interested, and actually this book was recommended by my good absent friend, Nico Espinal, who has his own way of dealing with things. But that book responds to two other books which are more Eastern orientated. If you want to, one is The Master and Emissary by Malgil Christ, which went back to Greek philosophy until the present day, because the Greeks were very, and the Chinese are very convergent. So when they deal with problems of judgment, they talks about metis, which is a form of intelligence, and synesis is about joining the dots. And that is what you are trying to unpack in a room with all the people brainstorming. But that room can only be unpacked if you can create the right psychological space. Yeah, the psychology has to come with trust, being on the same page, and mutual concern. And that's very hard to achieve, you see, because once you can get a psychological stage, the breakthrough and the insight generation will come. The second book is about the Treatise of Efficacy. You can get it on the web, like Treatise of Efficacy. So I find that, and it's what did Mervyn King recommended? He talks about narratives as a way of solving problem. Narratives, yeah. That's what he saw. What is why is this is extremely hard for us to go directly to the life and learning board. So it's about narratives. You can only go it sideways, yeah. And the Chinese will go it sideways. They will never confront the problem directly. They go it sideways. I think Martin knows what I'm talking about. It's about stories, right? So stories become so important. So if you are interested in this, I recommend the book, and Nico was quite, it's called Treatise of Efficacy by Francois Julian, who is a French sinologist who speaks Chinese very well. But so this thing, because the problem has become no longer analytical, it becomes systemic. So you cannot solve it in a systematic way because it's a collision and accumulation of non-linear systems, and it's cumulative and very disproportionate in effects, and it hurts people who are highly vulnerable. So climate change, COVID-19, the East-West breakdown are sources of uncertainty. They're sources of uncertainty, and our handling cannot be, I'm doing my pitch now, our handling cannot rest on our quintessential values. It got rest on imagination, courage, and judgment.